Am I the jerk for destroying my parents' anniversary cake to expose my sister-in-law's lies? My name is Maya, and for the last 15 years, I've been my family's resident magic maker. You know that person in every family? The one who turns a simple get-together into an event. The one who remembers every allergy, bakes every birthday cake from scratch, and plans every holiday meal down to the hand-folded linen napkins. That's me. I never saw it as a burden, I saw it as my love language. I'm a chef by trade, and feeding people is how I show I care. I truly believed that every perfectly roasted chicken and every flawlessly decorated cake was a testament to how much I loved them. But I've had a slow, painful realization over the last few years. There's a fine line between sharing your gift and being treated like unpaid staff. And what happened at my parents' 40th wedding anniversary party made that line catastrophically clear. It was meant to be the event of the decade for our family. My parents, married 40 years, wanted a celebration that was elegant but deeply personal. My brother, Leo, and his wife, Allison, offered to host it at their large, beautiful home. It sounded perfect. Allison is an interior designer with impeccable taste, and their house looks like it's straight out of a magazine. The division of labor seemed obvious. Allison would handle the decor and ambience, and I would handle the food. All of it. This wasn't just a potluck contribution. I'm talking about a full-service catering operation for 50 people, run out of my own pocket and my own kitchen. I designed a 5-course menu that told the story of my parents' life together. An appetizer inspired by their first date in New Orleans, a soup from their honeymoon in Italy, a main course that was an elevated version of the first meal my mom ever cooked for my dad. The grand finale was a painstaking recreation of their original 3-tiered wedding cake, based on one grainy photograph and my grandmother's cryptic recipe notes. I spent 3 solid weeks prepping. My tiny apartment kitchen was transformed into a commercial operation. I took time off work, unpaid, to focus. I spent over $1,000 of my own money on high-quality ingredients, from the Belgian chocolate for the mousse to the vanilla beans for the cake. Leo offered to chip in a couple of times, but I always waved it off. It's my gift to them, I'd say, and I meant it. But looking back, the signs were always there. Allison has a habit of taking my contributions and rebranding them. 2 years ago, for her daughter's birthday, I made these intricate, hand-painted cookies shaped like woodland creatures. They took me 16 hours. The next day, she posted a photo album on Facebook with the caption, "So proud of how my baking projects for the party turned out. #MomLife." When I gently mentioned it to Leo, he just laughed it off. "Oh, you know how she is. She just gets excited. Don't be so sensitive." Then there was the time I brought my signature braised short ribs to their Super Bowl party. Her boss was there, and I overheard Allison saying, "It's an old family recipe I've been perfecting for years." She didn't see me standing in the doorway. When our eyes met, she didn't look guilty, she just gave me a tight little smile, a silent dare. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to make a scene. I just swallowed the bitterness and told myself it didn't matter who got the credit, as long as the family was happy. But this anniversary party felt different. It was for my parents. This was about our family history, our memories. This was my soul on a plate. The day of the party, I was a wreck of exhaustion and adrenaline. I'd been up for 36 hours straight, finishing the cake and coordinating the final cooking times. I loaded my car with insulated containers, boxes of pristine glassware I'd rented, and, most precariously, the cake. When I arrived, the house looked stunning. Allison really had outdone herself. There were flowers everywhere, string lights in the backyard, and a beautiful photo montage of my parents playing on a large screen. I was filled with a sense of pride, thinking about how our talents were coming together to create this perfect moment. I hauled box after box into the kitchen, where Allison was directing 2 servers she'd hired. She barely glanced at me, just pointed to the counter and said, Okay, great, food's here. Let's get the appetizers out on the silver trays, stat. Not, thank you, Maya. Not, this looks incredible. Just, food's here. I brushed it off. She was stressed. I get it. I spent the next hour plating 50 delicate shrimp remoulade appetizers, arranging the charcuterie boards, and ensuring everything was perfect. As the guests started to arrive, I felt that familiar glow of satisfaction. People were gushing over the food, and my heart swelled. My parents were beaming, hugging me and telling me how amazing everything was. For a moment, I forgot all the little slights, all the moments of feeling erased. The party was in full swing, and I was just about to bring out the soup course when I stepped out of the kitchen to see the dining room in all its glory. And that's when I saw them. On every single beautifully set table, propped up in little silver holders, were the menus. They were printed on gorgeous, thick cardstock, detailing every course I had poured my heart into. And at the bottom, in an elegant, swirling script that matched the invitations, it read, Catering and Culinary Design by Allison and Leo. My breath caught in my throat. It felt like all the air had been vacuumed out of the room. Catering and Culinary Design by Allison and Leo. Not just a simple oversight. Not a shared credit. A complete and total erasure. Culinary design. The sheer audacity of it was breathtaking. She had taken my soul, my story, my gift, and slapped her name on it like a designer handbag. I walked over to a table and picked one up, the thick paper trembling in my hand. I saw my brother, Leo, laughing with an uncle across the room. I walked straight up to him, the menu held out in front of me like evidence. What is this? I asked, my voice dangerously low. Leo's smile faded. He glanced at the menu and had the grace to look uncomfortable. Oh, hey. Don't they look great? Allison had them printed. It says she was the caterer, Leo. It says she designed the menu. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Maya, come on. Don't do this now. It's just a piece of paper. Everyone knows you made the food. She just wanted it to look professional and cohesive. Cohesive? I whispered, the word feeling like poison in my mouth. She's taking credit for weeks of my life. For Grandma's recipes. For my money. Look, he said, pulling me towards the hallway, she's just proud of the party. We're a team. Just let it go, for Mom and Dad. Please. Don't make a scene. That's when Allison appeared, a champagne flute in her hand. Is there a problem? She asked, her smile as bright and fake as a department store mannequin's. I held up the menu. You've got to be kidding me, Allison. She didn't flinch. She took a delicate sip of her champagne. I thought they added a lovely touch. It ties everything together. It's a lie, I said, my voice rising. You didn't design anything. You didn't cook anything. You didn't even pay for anything. I opened my home, she said coolly, her eyes like chips of ice. I created the entire aesthetic. The food is just one part of the overall experience I curated. Honestly, Maya, your sensitivity is going to ruin this party if you're not careful. My blood went from simmering to boiling. She was gaslighting me in the middle of my parents' party, calling me sensitive for not wanting my identity stolen. I looked past her and saw my mom and dad, laughing, completely unaware. I thought about Leo's words, don't make a scene. And for a second, I considered it. I considered walking back into that kitchen, serving the next 4 courses, and smiling through the humiliation. But then I thought of the wedding cake. The cake that took me 4 days. The cake that represented the very foundation of our family. And I thought of Allison, cutting that cake and accepting compliments on her hard work. A switch flipped. I was done. I walked away from them without another word, straight into the kitchen. The servers were preparing to bring out the soup. "Stop," I said, my voice firm. "We're not serving this." I then walked back out to the main room, straight to the small stage where the DJ was playing soft jazz. I took the microphone. The music screeched to a halt. 50 guests turned to look at me. My parents looked confused. Allison and Leo looked horrified. "Hi, everyone," I said, my heart hammering against my ribs. "I'm Maya, the bride and groom's daughter. I just want to say a few words. I see you all enjoying the food, and I'm so glad. I want you to know that the menu was inspired by my parents' life together. Their history. Our history." I paused, looking directly at Allison. "It seems there's been some confusion, based on the lovely menus, so I want to be perfectly clear. My sister-in-law Allison, the hostess, did not cook any of this. She didn't design it. I did. This was my gift to my parents, a gift that it seems she wanted to claim as her own." A mortified silence fell over the room. I put the microphone down and walked to the beautiful cake table. My parents' wedding cake stood there, a perfect, three-tiered masterpiece. My dad started to walk towards me, his face a storm of confusion and anger. "Maya, what in God's name are you doing?" I looked at him, then at my mother, whose eyes were welling up with tears. I looked at Allison, whose face was pale with fury. "I'm done being the magic," I said, my voice cracking. "And I'm done letting someone else take credit for it." And with that, I put my hands on either side of the top tier of the cake and shoved. It tilted, hung in the air for a horrifying second, and then crashed to the floor in a sickening mess of buttercream, vanilla cake, and shattered dreams. I didn't wait for the reaction. I turned, walked out the front door, got in my car, and drove away, leaving behind the wreckage of my parents' 40th anniversary party. The fallout was immediate and nuclear. Before I had even gotten home, my phone was exploding. A string of texts from Leo, each more furious than the last. "What the hell is wrong with you? You ruined Mom and Dad's night. You're an embarrassment." A voicemail from my dad, his voice trembling with rage, telling me he didn't know who I was anymore. My mom just sent a single text, "How could you be so cruel?" Allison, of course, played the victim perfectly. She posted on Instagram the next morning, a picture of her and Leo consoling my devastated parents. The caption, "So heartbroken that a special night was ruined by a selfish display of jealousy. But we are so grateful for the family that chooses love over drama." The comments were a flood of sympathy for her. I stayed silent. I didn't answer a single call or text. My friends are divided. One says I'm a legend who finally stood up for herself. Another thinks I went way too far, that I could have handled it privately and that I can never take back ruining my parents' special night. They're right about that. The image of my mother's face as the cake hit the floor is burned into my mind. I feel sick with guilt over hurting them, but I also feel a strange, terrifying sense of freedom. I wasn't just destroying a cake, I was destroying the role they had all forced me into for 15 years. I made them see me, but I had to detonate a bomb in the middle of our family to do it. So, Reddit, Aita for publicly exposing my sister-in-law and destroying the cake at my parents' anniversary party.